are very welcome to the first of our specials this time around. It's a bit of a doozy. As we are prone to in Romancing the Dungeon, there's usually some wedding at some point. Well, we're taking you kind of the behind the scenes of that wedding and taking a look at what, kind of the events that run up to it. And in a very special adventure we're calling the Hen Knight. When you think of a Hen Knight, you think of chaotic energy, you think of a truck ton of laughs. If it's any of the hens I've been to, you think of a lot of booze. You think of wonderful characters. In the spirit of that, this isn't your normal Romancing the Dungeon adventure, because we are joined by some special guests. And I am beyond excited to have the gang from the Pubcast, as well as Daithi from Arcavios Eternal, helping to tell this ridiculous story that I had possibly in some sort of hangover fever dream. As much fun as it is listening to me prattle on, I think best for the gang to introduce themselves. Wayne, if you want to take it away.
Sure. I am Wayne. I am the DM from the Pubcast Presents Sorcery and Shenanigans, which is our DM stream, as well as one of the hosts of the regular Pubcast. You can find all of our stuff up on YouTube and anywhere you find podcasts and dark corners of the internet where people fear to tread. That's usually where you find us. We're currently into our second campaign, which is of a Spelljammer flavour. And we're just about to shoot off into the void in our next episode will be episode 6. So the current episode up there is episode 5. But that's me.
Hi, I'm Kim from the Irish Pubcast. I am to be found everywhere where Wayne is to be found. In this campaign, I'm playing a half-elf paladin called Vereres Blanc. And she's bound to be no trouble at all.
See, I should have said that. Yeah, I'm playing. My character is called Nedris Rosebottle, and she's a female halfling, and she's that person at a Hen Knight that is always no crack.
Hi, I'm Darren. I'm also a member of Pubcast. Tonight, I'm going to be playing Granny Sheeplin, rock gnome sorcerer, with a checkered past and very dark. So dark, she's probably forgotten half the stuff that she's done. We'll find out.
And on the other side of our special guests, we are joined by Daithi, who I get to play with because that rumor of me being an Eternal DM is greatly made up. I occasionally get to play. Daithi and I play together. Yeah, we do.
We broke the curse. We broke the curse.
We did, yeah. It's about time. Like, literally, that's all it needs to be.
I'm Daithi. I play Zenith Starbreeze on Arcavios Eternal, which is a lovely Strixhaven Magic the Gathering set D&D campaign where a couple of hapless millennials get to live out our dream of going to college for free. You can find us on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at Arcavios Eternal. I personally can be found anywhere really expensive card games and gacha games can be found, spending probably too much money on digital people and pretty cardboard. I can also be found on Twitter and TikTok as well at The Real Baron Zaya. For all my Skyrim fans out there, you'll probably know how to spell that. If not, hopefully it's written in a description somewhere.
It is not. Figure it out yourselves. No,
I will. Yeah, figure it out. But I'll be playing Mariella Goldwyn, a rich mastermind rogue actress extraordinaire.
It wouldn't be a Romancing the Dungeon adventure without at least one of the gang in tow. And joining us for our second season, kind of coming in really out of nowhere, Cael Adorous, played by the wonderful and equally as enigmatic James. We're getting a kind of a look at Mr. Possibly. We don't even know if Adorous is his last name. Anything you want to throw out there?
Yeah, hello. I'm James. I am arguably the least special of the guests assembled here, in that I am neither a guest nor special. I am a regular. I'm regular in both senses of the word. And I am Cael in Romancing the Dungeon. I also play Umbra in Rise of the Forsaken. By and large, that's it. That's all I've got going for me. Please send help. I am on the internet at Zugdboy, which is spelt like Zugdmoy, which if you are into the lore of D&D, that will make sense. And if you're not, then just sound it out and hope for the best. And you'll find me.
Yeah, that's. I've basically done the same with my username. Spell it if you can. If you can't, I'm sorry.
I love that. It's like some fucking Dan Brown novel. Just the introduction of shit. Like, you know, get a decipher and ask Tom Hanks to help you. That's how it's going to work out.
Well,
You know,
my Twitter handle was a burner account just for spying, and Wayne kept tagging me and things. So now it's a real account.
I change my Twitter handle, I'd say twice a month at this stage, so I'm never happy with it. I was the Dova Queen for a while. Then
it's a classic. You shouldn't have messed with it. It was a classic.
All right, well, I will change it back following this. So you will find me at the Dova Queen.
Not to be confused with the Dairy Queen.
No,
Do
yes,
not go
or
to
the
Dairy
Dova
Queen.
Queen. I am actually lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think it's time we play some Dungeons and Dragons. It is late in the evening in the city of Tezrab, and as you find yourselves bumbling and bustling through the overcrowded, narrow, spindling alleyways and passages through the city, between the market square, around the stalls, everybody here is heading to a destination. It is preordained that you arrive at the Yellow Cauldron, found in the heart of Tezrab City, right smack in the dead center, looking up at the Quill, the giant tower that acts as both a gimmicky tourist attraction as well as a lookout for defense. You've made your way through, and it is late in the evening, and a lot of the market stalls, the shops, bazaars have all begun to kind of close. As you head to the Yellow Cauldron, each of you, whether you're holding it in your hand, whether it's stuffed in a pocket or crammed into the bottom of your purse or satchel, you are heading to the Yellow Cauldron because each of you has been invited to attend the hen party of Destiny Whiterock. You're not quite sure who Destiny is. Maybe she was a classmate. Maybe you did her taxes. You received a letter from the Matron of Honor, Giselle Bundleweed, demanding not only do you attend, but you attend in your smarmiest, sexiest outfit, and you bring a gift, because it's a hen party, for Christ's sake, and there's a bride, and she deserves to be pampered and treated. You've set out with the intention of going to this event for one reason and one reason only. You are a patron of D8 services, and you hear the commanding, raspy voice of one Rosalinda Greypurse, love wizard / life coach and CEO, echoing, booming in your head. Seriously, you sad sack. You gotta start going out. Like, you literally, you're not gonna get yourself +1 to anything if that's the way you're gonna just treat yourself. So, head out, slap on a bit of lippy, hoist up that hem a little bit, show off a little bit of skin, give them a wink, have a drink, and look, whatever happens between you and them and the sheets is between you and your god. And me, because technically you then have to pay me for the dating service that I've provided you, so just saying. That advice, that encouragement, that threat at possible blackmail has sort of given you the confidence to head to this event. Again, that the notion, or the connection rather, between you and the bride or the matron of honor, it's a little bit foggy, but look, you have the invite, and when you have the invitation, no one can really turn you away. Nedris, you are the first to arrive. And as you cross the door on the western side of the Yellow Cauldron, you slip through, and it is packed to the rafters. The Yellow Cauldron is famous for being the pub that every trader in the city goes to after the market closes. So people pop in, they have their dinner, they have their drink, they fill their bellies, and they go home. It is very, very busy in here. Everybody seems to be kind of on high spirits. It's been a particularly warm day, and Everybody is guzzling back very cold flagons of beer and ale, and you kind of have to squeeze your way through to kind of get anywhere even inside the tavern. And the Yellow Cauldron... give me a perception check, actually. Just to...
So, perception plus 1, that is an 11.
The Yellow Cauldron gets its name, as you recall. I mean, it's a pub now, but it used to be the site of the market bathrooms. And you can't help but do that weird thing when someone tells you, oh, this place used to be this thing, and you give it a sniff. Just to... is that the faint aroma of urine I smell wafting through the air? Thankfully, it's not. It's just very cheap beer that kind of catches at your nose. And then a high-pitched squeal rings out from a corner toward the back of the bar. And as you cast your gaze upwards, you see a gaggle of people, 5 in total. And amongst them, you see a woman wearing a long white and slightly pink veil that's sort of pinned into a gimmicky-looking tiara. A half-orc woman with mossy grey coloured skin and 2 pronounced tusks poking out from her bottom lip, and she's quite a tall, slender figure, and she's giggling and she's holding her hands up and she's half embracing a half-elf woman from the back with just this huge bushel of red hair. And off to one side, you see a human woman with a long black high ponytail staring at them, a little bit annoyed when she locks eyes with you. What does she see, Nedris?
So Nedris is a 3-foot-tall halfling, and she's standing kind of amidst the crowd, and she has her cloak kind of pulled back. She's wearing leather armor, but it's finery. It's got like it's quite a nicely kind of adorned armor with kind of like the official symbol of the god Torm, who is the god of like law and loyalty, along with her crest of the closest thing to a crest of medicine or clericship that is adorned on the actual breast of it as well. She doesn't have any weapon. Well, no, she has a very small concealed mace kind of strapped to her side, and she's carrying a small bundle. Her hair is kind of tight and pushed back, kind of combed backwards, slick, kind of shorn at the sides, and her halfling ears are pointed. She's got numerous pieces of jewellery kind of pierced in through the ears, and a slight tattoo just down on her neck, what looks like feathers that are kind of slightly aflame, that kind of go down and disappear into the armour. She kind of looks nervous. She's looking around and just thinking to herself, just like, okay, you can do this. It's a social situation. You got to get out there. You got to just throw yourself out in the world and just get with it. It's going to be fine. Just take a breath. You don't know anyone. You don't know these people, so they're not going to be judging you for anything that they might know. Okay, and kind of moves forward, clutching a small bag, and in her right hand, and then in her left hand, she has the invitation that was sent to her by mistake.
The human woman with the high ponytail approaches, and she's wearing a very form-fitting black chiffon dress and these high, like thigh-high black boots and just bangles. She has a bangle on everything. As you kind of maneuver towards the back of the Yellow Cauldron, you see that the bridal party, you can't help but spot, I mean, she's wearing a bride's veil, for Christ's sake. And you kind of shift and move through the crowd. That woman who locked eyes with you kind of approaches, and there's about 4 steps up onto a platform, and there's a plush purple velour rope on a hook kind of just across the front of the stairs. And she kind of sidles up to it. Sorry, this is a private event, invitation only. What's my dear friend's bridal party? And
I have an invitation, and I kind of brandished the kind of the invitation to her and showed up. It's like, I have been invited. Are you are you Giselle?
I'm Giselle, and I don't have a clue who you are or how you got that invitation.
Oh, you sent it to me. It's got your name on it. It says, looking forward to seeing you soon, signed Giselle. That's you, isn't it?
That's... You've brought a gift, I assume, as per that letter?
Yeah, and she holds up the bag, and it kind of, as she holds it up, it kind of clinks a bit as if there's like multiple bottles on the inside of it, and she kind of holds it up and it kind of clinks.
Most excellent. Well, I'm sure she gestures to the small private area, and you see up here on this kind of raised area of the tavern, there's two booths. The bride to be in her veil is surrounded by three others. There's a halfling man with dusty red hair kind of shorn into a mohawk, and he's got large bushy eyebrows. There's a small goblin woman with lime green skin sat next to him, and just on the outside, still kind of holding the bride's hands and kind of looking at the ring, there's that half-elf woman with the large bushy hair. The other booth just has a stack of gifts. If you have a gift, then... And the invitation, obviously. I'll have to take it up with the post office. Please, you're more than welcome to join us.
Thank you. And she opens the bag and she goes, I have one of these for you. And she reaches in and pulls out a small vial, a little corked vial that has a kind of a swishing, kind of glowing blue liquid inside that seems to be kind of peppered with glitter as it swirls around. And she holds it up. She goes, this is for tomorrow morning after you've had all of the libations. It'll help you feel better. And he just hands over, like, it's basically one of those morning after drinks to wake you up after a hangover. And she goes, I brewed it myself, actually. It's from my own recipe. And she just gives one to Giselle.
Oh. Isn't that quaint? I actually don't put anything in my body that hasn't been approved by my Pilates instructor. So, I mean, very much appreciative of it. And between us, Destiny, she'll knock anything back. So I'm sure she's going to love that homemade gift, even though the invitation did strictly stress not to bring anything homemade. But that's fine. Here's a token.
Can I ask, did your Pilates instructor approve the stick that's shoved up your ass?
Actually, he did. It's sage, and it does wonders for my chakram.
I'm very happy for you. And she just takes the token and walks past her.
She just kind of gives you that one of those really stretched, thin smiles, and just kind of gestures. And she looks around at anybody else. And in the crowd of people that are kind of like, because more people are kind of swilling in out of the streets. Mariella, have you been to Tezrad before? Are you from here? Are you new to the city? You're just breezing by?
Pretty new to the city.
Okay. You can't miss the Yellow Cauldron because it's a luminous yellow building, and there's just a big old cauldron hanging off the front of it. They take their names very literally around these parts. When you come in, it's that weird moment that you'd often get in like the old spaghetti westerns, where you step through the doors and everybody goes quiet. And all eyes turn. And who do they see walking through the door?
They see a woman in a Triton woman in a form-fitting, deep seaweed green, oil slick textured gown with like fur coming up the décolletage that's like almost navel deep cut. She's got really like almost naturally glistening coral colored skin and piercing, like her eyes are like, she would probably say that everybody turned around because they knew somebody with beautiful sea blue eyes just walked in. She's one of those people with blue eyes that just like open like eye stares to people. She's got that like permanently wet look going on with her hair that's like just like kind of stuck to the bust, peppered with like gold jewelry here and there, but tastefully. She looks a bit like a Triton Mae West.
And do you know the bride, or what's
yes?
Okay. As you step through, you spot Destiny straight away. You hear her first. She's got that kind of girlish, foppish giggle. She's never lost it. You also see Giselle sort of hanging off to one side, looking like a literal and proverbial stick has lodged itself in her at some stage. And she may not have actually retrieved it. As you sort of stand there, all eyes on you, you just hear a, hey, love, could you just step to one side? I've got deliveries.
I'm sorry, but that doesn't seem like my issue. That seems like something that you'll have to work out for yourself. I'm going this way. And I'll just like saunter towards Destiny and the crew.
As you saunter off, the whole crowd cheers, but no one's looking at you anymore. They're all looking at the gnome woman carrying two little kegs on her shoulders. All right, you little bastards, Marilla's here. She's got everything for you. Don't you worry, I got some spares. And she steps behind the bar and she kind of loads it down. And everybody is like applauding and whistling and cheering that Marilla Whistlecoil has arrived with some extra spare kegs to the Yellow Cauldron.
Marietta still fully believes that it was for her. And she's just like,
oh my God. And Giselle approaches. Marietta.
Oh, darling. Mwah, mwah. Darling, you look a vision in black. You're just gorgeous, darling, stunning.
Oh, Mariella, look at you. Ever.
I know.
Ever.
Look, I just about made it to town. I was in the other town over. I was acting. I was with my media group. Work is so hard lately. And, I just thought, I got this invitation. I might as well just take the trip over and see my girls. It's been years. And she goes in for another kiss.
Yeah, it's so long. And she kind of leans in. She's just got to die. She's just going to die when she sees you.
I heard her first, as
Oh
would.
my God.
Of course, of course.
She's never lost it.
I feel like she's just never changed. I could just hear the same voices I was hearing when we were teenagers.
Well, I mean, we were teenagers and you were a little bit older than us. But, I mean...
Well, I always looked a little younger, though. And still do, clearly. The sages...
Lights, yes, in certain lights.
Most of them.
Yeah.
So just in your presence, then. Anyway, darling, I must go say hello to Destiny. I must go say hi.
Mariella, I mean, not that you need it, obviously, but, here's a token for a drink.
Mariella just, is holding the token really, obviously, as if to say, I don't belong in this peasantry. It's very... She's like, yes, and she's a little purse. And she's going to put it in. Thank you. Right. She's going to saunter towards Destiny.
As you kind of move towards Destiny, there's a halfling woman just kind of standing in the middle, but trying to be off to one side. She's trying to be part of the group, but trying not to be there. It's that weird thing of, well, if I stand in here, then I technically attended the event, but it doesn't seem to be making any real effort to ingratiate. As you kind of walk off, you just hear Giselle kind of pipe up, oh, and the gift, Mary, there's a table just over there beside the... And she kind of points down at Nedris. If you don't leave it over there.
Despite the fact that my presence is, probably enough of a gift already, I've, of course, brought a gift. This is not my first time at the rodeo. Well, at this particular rodeo, because does it smell like piss in here, or is it just me?
It does. It's a cultural thing. It's a local thing.
I feel like our Destiny always had a little bit of a rough side. I kind of like that about it. Anyway.
Kind of reminds me of your third wedding. Giselle kind of turns back to kind of look out at the crowd, and Destiny seems to be ingrained in conversation with the red-haired wood elf woman. You think you kind of recognize the three of them. They weren't part of your clique because, you were popular and liked and beloved. But you think you might remember them from school? They look vaguely familiar. One of them might have been called Philip or Dennis, the halfling anyway. You're not quite sure. But they all kind of look at you, and they halfling and the goblin both just give you kind of a toothy grin, oh god, she's here.
Just
and they both kind of go back to their drinks and just... There's a crash by the bar, and Verir, as you... Am I pronouncing that? Is it Verir?
Yeah, Vereri, yeah.
Vereri, okay. As you step through the doors, a waiter or a server carrying a tray of drinks the door kind of just smacks them, and the tray of drinks goes spilling out, and everyone just does that whole "way" thing as they always do. No one is kind of like, everyone's kind of weighing at the barkeep, the server who knocked over the tray of stuff, who kind of immediately bends down, kind of start tidying it up. You've come in from the northern entrance, straight from the market square out into it, and this is packed. It's coppers after the final of the hurling champion thing.
Oh.
That's as many.
Took me there.
Yeah, there's nurses, there's guards, there's merchants. It's just thronged.
Every boar you knew at school.
Every boar you knew at school is there, and yeah, it's that weird thing of it's gonna take some time to pass through the crowd. Like, no one kind of wants to kind of like give up their spot. No one wants to give up where they're standing. And in the far corner, you can hear a commotion, but you spot a woman wearing a mock veil, kind of just pinned into the back of her hair. So you know that the hen party are gathering at the back. How are you going to make your way through the crowd?
So it suits me that it's bustling, because I'm just going to use that time to get my bearings in the room. I do that everywhere I go. Where are the doors? Where am I going to? Too much planning for social interactions. Too much, not helpful. But the fact that I'll have to muscle my way in there, and I don't want to, means I'll just move like traffic in Dublin City, or like a fish, just going into the space left and moving over. So I'm at the brief sartorially. I'm in black and white, and it's, when someone tries and they would have been better not to try. She looks like someone who borrowed someone else's clothes.
Okay.
It's a dress, but there's no art to it. But she tried. They said black and white. She wore black and white. It's fine. It's not form-fitting, and her shoes are Ugmo. But she tried, and maybe she should have just wore her jerkin. Like, let's be real, So I have my invitation, and I'm making my way over. I'm toying with going to the bar first, but I think I'll come back. I think what I'll do is get in there, throw the cold water on my face, and then get back to the bar in a minute. I do not remember meeting Destiny before. I certainly don't know Giselle. Roz is familiar to me. She's yelled lots of advice at me in the past. And I'm here because of fear of Roz. So I make my way over to Cael Adorous. I am going to do my best. There's so much potential. I'm Morrissey at the beginning of that song. Please tell me if I need to drop the pop culture references.
Not at all.
There's a club and I'd like to go, but things are going to probably end up. Except this is the tattoo cover, sorry.
Even better. That's
way better.
That's probably more fitting for us on this show.
Destiny and Giselle are the two members of Tattoo taunting me with their femininity. I'm doing my fucking best over here, all right?
Chain link fence.
Yeah.
As you maneuver through the crowd, you get a good lay of the land, and where you've kind of come from. The reason it's so packed is this is kind of the more open space. And the bar is immediately to your right. And as you kind of ponder, you do see two gnome women standing behind the bar. There's a woman with just this tuft of like black wiry hair tied up in a bandana. She's kind of loud and gruff. I mean, she's not like a fan favorite character that we accidentally may have killed off at the start of the second season. But this is in the past, so it's fine. We can definitely drop her in here. She's talking to another gnome, much younger than her, blonde hair in kind of two loopy, thick braids, dusty, pale skin in a green dress, and a kind of a light tan brown apron pinned against it. And they seem to be kind of deep in conversation, completely and totally, willfully ignoring the gathering of people around the bar trying to order drinks. They literally couldn't give a shit. And as you saunter through the main floor of the bar, You do see people of all shapes and sizes. They're all trying to be very politely weave and maybe turn and twist and stuff like that. Give me either an acrobatics check or an athletics check.
It's a 19, my friend.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
As you're kind of maneuvering through, there are, like I said, there are a few people being polite and kind of trying to make room for you to pass as you kind of push towards the back. And as you do so, you do see that raised platform where the bride or the bride to be has her group. Just off to it, a little bit further back, you do see a small little doorway, and next to that, a curved semicircular stage. There's nobody on it, but there's a stage there. And just as you sort of like, you think you're home clean and you're about to kind of approach it, a very, very tipsy Furbolg sort of swings around as you kind of glide into her. And she just, oh, what was that? And her drink kind of flits out of her hand. And you full on just, everything kind of goes slow for you. And you just lean back and twist. And you watch the liquid just splash over. And it catches an Aracorcoran magpie woman in the back of the head and goes right down her back. And she lets out an and she falls forward, and a full chain reaction of people half spilling their drinks and giggling as you just glide and weave through it. And Giselle is looking at you, very sort of poignantly looking down her nose from the raised platform where you see now that a few people have begun to kind of gather. Can I help you?
I'm shitting it already. I have no immunity for mean girls. None. No exposure. Nothing. So I just go, well, Giselle, is it?
It is, and you are...
Vreris Blanc, I've an invite for the do.
Oh, that's quite a rural sound that your mouth is making.
Instantly, every capillary in my body withdraws into my body because I know my thick-tongued mumble, and I'm just like, Roz sent me an invite for the party tonight, and I was just thought might come along and sure, be a bit of crack.
That
I'm sorry, Donnie.
wonderful. That tabaxi. Oh, geez. Going to hear from me tomorrow? Of course.
I've a present.
Oh, well then, of course, Destiny's gonna love that. And she unclips the velour rope from around the banister and gestures for you to come in. That's a choice of clothing that you are wearing.
Yeah, black and white.
Yeah, no, it's definitely that. It suits you.
I missed it completely. Thanks. Thanks. I'm going to get a drink. Do you want one for yourself? Or?
Just that's not going to be grating at all. No. Don't worry about it. Verere, am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah. Ask Grandad. Just sure. Vera, very it's grand. Like it's grand.
Wonderful. I'm going to give you a token and just walk away now. So this will get you a drink at the bar, compliments of the bridal party. You can leave your gift over by the table, and next to there's two booths up here. And in one, you do see a half-orc woman wearing a veil, deep in conversation with a half-elf woman. Next to them, in the other booth, there's a Triton woman and a halfling kind of set there, all looking at a table with gifts on it.
Nedris is going to be just standing off just slightly away from the table, just
even further back a little bit.
Yeah, like just it's kind of like it's an observation situation, just kind of hanging back and just looking and just slowly drinking out of a very large tankard because this is the one drink that's going to last all night.
I know that the halfling is my speed. I know that's where I should be going, but I'm going to go get a drink and come back and try to challenge myself with some of the other bints.
As you head towards the bar, you're kind of facing now again the entrance that you came in. Now you can see that crowd of people. There seems to be a bit of commotion at the entrance. You passed only moments ago, and just kind of standing kind of half in the doorway, half out the doorway, there was the bouncer. He didn't stop you. Again, he's standing there, long black coat, the arms of it cut off, a goatee that's oiled down to a point and then braided with 3 gold rings, shaved head, and these milky white eyes. And he seems to be getting into a bit of a kerfuffle with an old woman. What does Verere see, Granny, when she looks out at the bouncer? Who is the bouncer fighting with?
When you look out, Granny Sheeplin remembered that she had to wear black and white, and had to go through her old adventuring boxes, and break them because they were rusted, and found stuff that she picked up along the way and never thought she'd wear. But she's wearing, first of all, a really, really lovely silk black dress that does fit her until you get close to it and you notice there's something off about it, especially at the back, where just below the shoulder you see a little nick of where the blade went in and a little small bloodstain from the last drow that owned this dress. She's also wearing this fluffy white scarf that she's like thrown around her neck. She's like a 200-year-old gnome. She's crouched over. She's got a walking stick. She's got curls upon curls upon curls of grey hair that she's never cut in years. But the one thing that does stand out is the equivalent of D&D New Rocks. That's the one thing she used to wear when she was really young and still looks cool today, but she's not making it work. She's like, just looking up at the bouncer.
Here's Granny. No. We've discussed this. The last time you were here, the state of the place you left it all in. You're out. You're not allowed in here. You just out.
Sorry, Darren, I can't quite hear you. What you say? Any drinks? Oh no, I brought my own. It's all right.
And she's got this, which you didn't notice because it was behind her. It's this really, really big. It's probably a human-sized leather bag that's too big for her, and you can notice a couple of bottles of mead and whatnot are sticking out of it.
It's all right, dear. I brought my own. Thanks, though. I'll just go through. I'm invited.
Ricky knows better than to pick an argument with Granny, and half of it is just he has to do it to show that he at least attempted to not let her in. As you try and smuggle your booze into the tavern, you could either give me a stealth check at disadvantage or a persuasion check.
I'm going to go with persuasion.
Okay.
Yeah, walking into the building site in a high vis. Building site that you do not belong to.
I rolled off on that 20 to an 8. God, but that is a 12.
Okay. Granny, this is part of the reason why you're not allowed in. So, I'm going to need you to just put it to one side. You can collect it afterwards.
You see, it's no, I've already done the Alzheimer's bit earlier. It's a wedding present. Yes, I haven't done that one before. Yes, wedding present, not for me. Yeah, look, even though it's in my bag and that's my lucky mead bottle, it's not for me. I'm being generous tonight. Yeah.
I'm letting you through, but I better not see you putting a hand in that bag, okay?
Right, one hand is not allowed to go in the bag, but maybe
No
two
hands. It's a gift. You're giving it to the bride. If I don't see that handed over to the bride, it's going out. It's going in the gutter. He does a very audible, like, fuck. Fuck. And just pushes the door slightly open for you. That thing happens where the bag on its cart, the wheels, kind of get stuck on the lip of the door. And it's struggling, and he's trying to keep the door open for you. And eventually he just puts a hand on it, and he just kind of helps you shove the cart over the lip.
Thank you. I knew there was a good bone in your body. I knew.
You said you wouldn't talk about that. He just blushes and just looks again, and then looks straight out into the marketplace and the sun setting.
I'll give him a wink just as he turns around.
Now let's find where the drinks is.
Immediately, Granny, the crowd parts. It is literally the Red Sea when people see you step in. And people they pick up their belongings, they pick up their bags, their coats, and everyone just picks up and holds them. And they just take a step apart to allow you to just wheel yourself through the crowd. You can see at the far end the bride-to-be letting out kind of a squeal. What is the nature of your relationship, or how did you come about receiving an invite?
As far as Granny Og is concerned, she finally got the invitation that she knew was coming, because when she was younger, she used to babysit Destiny. Now, it was only for a week. She unfortunately didn't like the fact that she was drinking on the job, so they fired her. But, she made her own fame elsewhere. She's known for the adventuring harness for adventurers that don't want to leave their babies at home but want to know they're safe, which lasted maybe a year before the wild magic started polymorphing all the parents into ridiculous shapes. Yeah, she lost all her money, but that's another story. She's here because she thinks that, Destiny has remembered her. And, that's why she's finally come from the woods to the city. Not for drink, but here.
As you make your way over to the group at the back of the Yellow Cauldron, Nedris, Mariella, and Vereri, you just hear a very stifled, "Fuck. Destiny? Destiny?" The half-orc woman kind of turns around, and again, it's that weird sort of slow motion half-spin, and the veil seems to be caught on like a delicate waft of fresh air, and her hair is tousled around her. And all you catch a real first glimpse on Destiny, the bride-to-be, and she is stunning. Again, it's that grey, mossy-coloured skin. Her hair is up and back, and it just sort of hangs delicately over her shoulders, barely touching the porcelain-like skin, and she has these gorgeous eyes, one amber and one cerulean, and she smiles, and these two delicate little tusks the whole time protruding just open up, and there's just these perfectly white teeth, and she's wearing a flowing white linen kind of summer dress with delicate little flowers woven onto it. If you pay any kind of closer attention to the dress, it's not fabric, it's actual flowers. She has actual flowers growing through the dress. And she just spins, and it's like, Jizzy? Oh my god. OMGs. Granny! And she just, like, her hands just flit open. Jizzy, you got her to come out. She's the one that gave me this. And she points at this tiny, tiny scar on her right elbow. Remember, I told you, she brought me to that lich's tomb? And, like, her heels are clacking on the ground very, very loudly. And she's emitting a sound that only the dogs in the neighborhood can currently hear. And her face is just beaming with glee. And she sees the rest of you. She goes, oh my god, you even got strangers. Oh, and not you, Mariella. No, not you, sweetheart. Oh my god, you came. Oh, even though you're so busy with that production.
Absolutely. I couldn't miss this for the world, darling. Mwah, mwah. Couldn't miss. You look ravishing in my eyes. You look beautiful.
Just so overwhelmed.
Oh, darling. And Mariella, like, whips out a fan and just starts, darling, no. And she starts fanning her.
No, it's okay. I don't wear any makeup because I've got flawless natural skin and I don't have to.
I always have, darling.
Oh, thank you. She moves over and she doesn't shove Giselle out of the way, but she kind of steps in front of Giselle and she just whips the rope kind of away and she just opens her arms to you, Granny, immediately. I mean, surely by now the restraining order is gone, right? Mommy and Daddy aren't going to get mad about it.
I think so, yes. I've ignored the last 20 letters, but I'm sure there's a clause in that once you ignore the first 10, it's gone. So I think we can hug each other without a fireball going off. People might want to stand back, a little bit, and give me a minute because my back's at me. No, that's the bottle of gin I stuck there, sorry.
And she takes out a bottle of gin and puts it in the bag.
Sorry, bad. My present, yeah.
She scoops, like she drops into a squat, Granny, and just these two arms just sweep around your back and hoist you up, and she squeezes. Oh my God. Everybody get in here. Everybody get in here.
Ferrari does. She's in.
Oh my God,
with me.
oh my God, you have to get in here. And like, she's looking at you directly, Ferrari. I don't know you, but there's the connection. There's something in your eye that tells me you're a good person.
I'm mortal embarrassed, but just delighted. Like, absolutely delighted.
It's great to see that you can lift again.
Well, the healers did say that I have to cover this up around Daddy. He gets very angry when he sees the blemish. But other than that, I've got full functionality in most of my body. I mean, that Lich's curse it was nothing.
He only comes back every 300 years, darling, so you're okay. You've got another... When's your wedding again?
Tomorrow.
Yes, I'm sure okay. Yeah, fine, yeah.
Giselle is kind of looking around, and the halfling, the goblin, and the half-elf that had kind of gathered around the booth all follow in for the group hug.
Mariella does too.
Yeah, Nedris is trying to blend in with the presence and just not be noticed at all. It's like just complete social anxiety kicking in. The idea of any...
Stealth check.
Yeah, any heavy contact, good luck. Okay, it's not bad. That's 16.
I would like to say that Mariella has a passive perception of 19.
Okay. So...
Oh, wow.
Destiny and Giselle don't spot Netris not getting into the group hug. Mariella, you do.
Darling, don't stand there like a pile of coats. If you're going to be useful, get us a drink or something. Are you the waiter or are you a guest?
She's looking at the massive tankard that is like engulfed in her hand. Is that I'm not. I don't work here. I'm one of the guests. And she holds up the invitation again, like just as proof. I'm having my drink. I don't want to spill this. So you go ahead. And just continues to drink.
Hey, darling. And she just joins back into the hug.
Giselle also stands off to one side and just does a little like hat on Destiny's shoulder, like a little like, there we go. I was part of it as well. Okay, I think that's everybody. Everybody, don't forget to put your gifts on the table. We're going to be judging them in a moment. And really, this is kind of... Okay, I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to ruin it. But I kind of feel like I'm not getting enough attention or appreciation for the fact that I organized all of this. So I have one little surprise. And it's kind of my gift to you all. But mostly Destiny, because she's the one getting married. And Destiny, I know you said that you didn't want any strippers. You didn't want, any kind of, anything kind of too crass. I get that. I respect that. But I totally ignored it. Because what's a hen party without a bit of dong? It's one of those moments where the room went silent and Giselle just said the word dong very loudly. And all eyes turned to the hen party. And then the doors on the western entrance open. And standing there is an ASMR. I think he's here. I think I'm going to be getting a discount, but I think he's here. And she points straight over at the western entrance. And standing there is Cael.
You see a middling height Aasimar. He's of celestial heritage. He has dark white skin that's marbled with golden veins, not necessarily in the pattern of a circulatory system, more in the pattern of rock. He's pretty sharp-featured, good jawline, high cheekbones, long silvery white hair tied in a high pony, clasped with a little golden clamshell with curtain bangs kind of framing his face. He's wearing a white cowl neck blouse underneath a golden breastplate that is kind of filigreed and ornate to the point where you have to question whether it's lost a good chunk of its tactical advantage. Sleeves and the blouse rolled up. The cowl is hanging just below a golden sun pendant that has an orange fire opal set in the middle. And he has a tan leather obi belt wrapped around his waist, kind of a sash with two ties dangling down, and a gold-pleated wrap skirt, and a slit on one side showing a good bit of leg, and some tanned ankle wrap sandals underneath.
A drum starts playing out of nowhere. You don't see anybody on stage, and like Giselle's like, Destiny, this is for you. One last night of freedom. Now, no judgment, though we will judge you if you do sleep with him, but not in that sense of you cheating on your soon-to-be husband, more in the fact that he's a bit old. This is for you. Everybody step back, and Giselle pulls out a chair and plonks it down in the middle of this reserved area and just kind of half shoves Destiny down into it. It's showtime. It's showtime.
Missing the initial beat, he cops and starts to... He kind of... His hand grazes the door frame, slowly sliding down, and he starts to gingerly step one leg in front of the other towards the stage. As he does, he reaches behind him and slowly withdraws from its clasp a whip. A bull whip, not like a horse whip. Ideally, in a patron-free part of the bar, gives it one sharp crack before stepping up and taking the stage. He does a small bit of work with the whip. He lets down the hair, and as the beat kicks in, he steps out towards Destiny, throws the whip around her neck, and leans in very close and says, "Have you got a weapon on you?"
I think my boner just subsided.
I think I've actually been to this bar.
Just my mace. And she gestures at a large black iron mace hanging from her side.
He reaches down, his hand traces its path down her side, grasps the mace, folds it gingerly into her hand, and then takes a quick leap backwards and says, "Then let's go."
My boner is back. It is back.
And will engage Destiny in combat. Stage combat.
Kind of half following you. Give me a perception check, Cael, as you're now on stage. Actually, everybody give me, because all eyes are now on the stage and that area. So everyone give me a perception check. But Cael, I'll let you do it with advantage purely because you're kind of on stage.
I'm sure you really want to know, but I'm currently at half chub. No.
Please keep the updates coming. It's vital.
That's a 17.
Ooh, that's a 7 for me. Yikes.
With advantage, that's a big 5.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh.
I got mine was 14.
I got a 7, so I'm remembering I think I might have left the stove on.
Granny's lost in thought at the possibility of having burned down her shack. Nedris, having not really moved into the circle of people and kind of been off to one side, you're now that there's this sex dancer, possibly sex fighter, we're not really sure what he's doing. Your eyes are kind of on it, and you're looking. You're not really sure where to look. You don't really know what to look at. Do you look at him? Do you look at her? Do you look at the whole spectacle? You can kind of just see stage right. There's a little passageway. You know, the performers could come in and off rather than just hopping up onto the stage. There's a little entrance at either side of the stage, and you can see stage right. And you can kind of half see someone. You can kind of see someone standing there. And Verere, being the more observant of your surroundings and aware of your thing, you've kind of scoped. Not only have you scoped the bar out, you're now giving a full on like, oh yeah, the beams there are okay on that stage. Yeah, that looks fairly safe. Yeah, and that's grand. That's good sound structure there. Obviously,
I love structural integrity. What can I say?
Great. It's wonderful. There's a half-naked Leonin standing backstage.
Okay.
He's literally wearing a leopard skin thong and wrap.
I clutch my pearls metaphorically And then I figure he might need a cue, and suspecting that this is something going wrong at this party I've just arrived at, worrying that it might somehow be traced back to me, even though why. I am going to head over there and kind of go, hey, are you all right? Do you need to dig out?
Giselle didn't tell me that there was going to be a warm-up act. Hey, I'm Thad. And the Leonin just hands he kind of gives you he goes to shake your hand.
I don't know where to look, but I will autopilot, shake his hand. Tad, how you? And then I'm afraid I'm saying his name wrong. Yeah, I think this was sprung on her. Just a bit of crack. I don't know. I
do
may
I
as
go
well
out there?
be.
Should I go out there and?
I'd how long? I think he's gonna do some thing. I think I
Well,
thought
that's
he
kind
was
of my
gonna...
thing, and he's like he gestures. No, I mean, like I'm paid to do that. Is he a licensed professional?
Oh, jeez, I don't know. I might as well be looking up a cow's hole, but I have to say, like he thought he was going to strip, and then sure he started fighting, and I'd say there's still a market for you. I'd howl on now for a minute and see. I'll check out what's going on here. Like if Destiny doesn't play ball here with this throwing the weapons around, but sure, then you're gonna need a stripper because the drums are on and sure the whole thing's going and sure.
Well, I mean, like the drums are like my cue. That was the whole thing where I go out and I shake my thing to the rhythm of the drums, and get all you folks excited and
that's it. Oh, Jess, that sounds great. But I have to say, like, did Giselle seem to be the one that did this? So did she know? Did she pay off the drum man? Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah. Like we're a set gig here, and there's no. The entire time you've been standing with him for one, your hand is greasy. Your hand is oily. There's an intoxicating smell of coconut and baby powder. It's just overpowering. And like he's standing at 6'4", chiseled. He has an 8-pack. Both his nipples are pierced. His hair is slicked back into like a long braided ponytail, and he has these piercing blue eyes.
I've definitely been in this bar before. Definitely.
The entire time he is just, his hips are going with the rhythm of the drums. Like it's just the drums are beating. He's good to go.
I am at the stage where I know this is good. The books told me this was good. The books told me this was the thing, in fact. And I've seen many publications talking about how this is the thing. I'm still in recovery from from Marielle over there. So I'm kind of, I don't know what to be at, but I know that I may be mildly throbbing, but I don't know who to attribute it to. I am overstimulated in general, and I am going to try and be very useful in a very pragmatic way for the next 5 minutes till I work out who is doing this to my neurological system. So I'm going to tell this nice young fella to howl a swish now for a minute, and I'm going to go over. I'm going to see if this Jim Carter episode is going to last for very long. And if not, then he'll be able to piggyback off this.
He just gives you kind of a wink and a very toothy grin. Cael, give me, is this an attack or a performance we're doing here?
This is a performance. Anything that he attempts on her will essentially just be some form of stage bondage. Any attacks that she attempts to land on him, he will use as an excuse to disrobe.
Okay.
Then my friends what we call a win-win.
Does Nedris spot the drummer that Nedris spots? Does she see, like, is the drummer engaged with it, like they're beating the drum and the rhythm? Do they look confused in any way?
You've kind of locked eyes with the drummer, and it's a kind of a small human woman. With all the kind of the commotion on stage, as you're kind of looking back and forth, you also spotted that woman who rocked in the weird black and white dress that doesn't look like it quite belongs to her. she sort of meandered over to one side of the stage and disappeared behind a curtain, and you can kind of see the curtain flapping back and forth. Like there's definitely motion happening back there. And your eyes do kind of drift between the curtain and the stage. The drummer does look very confused, and the rhythm of what's happening on stage versus what's being pounded on the drum doesn't sync up at all.
Nedris is going to nimbly make her way because she can weave in between, being a halfling, she can weave in between the crowds and any of the roaring hens that are kind of getting into this sexy action. And she's going to just make her way over to the drummer while everything else is going on.
As you plop down the steps, kind of following the footsteps of Rere, and the crowd are, whatever about the group of hens, the crowd are all kind of the ones whooping and cheering, that this gathering of merchants and workers in the city. I mean, it's a free show. You slip around, and just as you kind of maneuver to the curtain and go to step beyond it, everybody just sees Destiny kind of just take a lunge and a swing with the mace. The same way you'd watch a tennis player take a swing. She's holding both hands of it, and there's a very audible like, as she swings
nice.
like as she was about to hit a ball or something with the mace.
If you're rolling to like attack with her, can I help her? I can help at range. And I would like to help her. I would like to give her the help action. So Mariana, I rolled really poor on perception. So Mariana is clearly into this. She loves avant-garde performances and believes this is wonderful. So she sees this guy engage in sexy combat, and she's like, "Woo!" And she's like, "Oh, darling, swing with your hips, swing with your hips." That's what she's going to say to give her help.
And Destiny, she's in it. She's in it because it's the good person thing to do. Like, your friends have organized this, and she doesn't look totally comfortable, but she's kind of here for the fun of it. And with your encouragement, Mariella, because she went from a nat 1 to an 18, she swings the mace, and it bounces off your chest plate, Cael.
Well, so meets it, beats it, but there is a decision to be made here. Does she look like she's actually trying to wound him? Has she caught that this is a performance, or is she genuinely going for blood?
She is going for blood right now, because yeah.
Okay, in that instance, then, in a brief moment of panic, he will cast shield, attempting as he does so to rapidly unclasp his breastplate as the sparks of his shield kind of fly off, and he gives a kind of a dramatic hair toss.
Give me a sleight of hand check to unclasp the breastplate.
Oh, no. Oh, 17.
You've taken many a breastplate off one-handed. The mace bounces off the breastplate, and there's a shing of golden light and sparks. And it's that overly dramatic head thrown back in slow motion, and just this spiral of white hair whipped up into the air. Nobody sees it. Like, nobody sees the magic behind the reveal, or the removal in this case. As the clashing sound of the iron mace bouncing off the chest plate rings through the crowd, and the sparks die away and that flash of golden light dissipates, there's a semi-naked Asimar standing on stage with this very lean, marble white physique, posed in such a way that every muscle is taut and twisted, and it is that pure, it's almost like that kind of Adonis flex as he stands there. And there's just "Take it off, you schmutz," from the crowd, and standing on the counter, again, that wiry black-haired gnome woman is just whooping and hollering and just whipping a dishcloth over her head. It's your action, Cael.
Yeah, feigning not hurt, but he puts his hand to his chest and acts as though she's kind of knocked some of the wind out of him, and then meets her gaze with a genuinely vengeful look, and is going to attempt to lightly attack her with his whip, but a genuine attack. Yeah, that's 20, unnatural.
Yeah, that hits. No. It definitely hits the girl in the linen dress who's not wearing armor.
Oh no!
It is a 4 total. He is intentionally going to do a very tight cut across the side of her cheek with the intent of just drawing blood.
Oh my god.
So I was wondering, could I do something here? And it's totally cool if I can't. I just thought I'd put it out there.
Yeah, and me too afterwards.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Okay.
Also.
Okay.
Nedris is kind of up on the stage now at this point, after making her way around, and she sees the whip go out, and she wants to use her full movement to jump, kind of vault off a table and jump, and use her gloves of missile snaring to try and catch the whip before it hits.
All right, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Can we get everyone to roll for initiative for the sexy striptease battle that's happening on
You know
stage?
something's gone wrong when you
Yeah.
get an initiative roll.
We are actually in coppers, so you know the amount of initiative rolls I've had in that place. So yeah,
Lads, I'd be rolling dice on the stairs on the way in. It's shocking. Oh,
I got a 21.
shit, 3.
I got a 20.
nice.
19 plus 1.
Oh.
I have a 17.
A 4 for Cael.
Okay, but in this case, Nedris, it was just more to see where people might go now in terms of actions and reactions.
I mean, I can give you acrobatics if you want me to kind of try and do all that type of stuff. I don't mind.
More for the flair of it, because the gloves are the gloves, but it's more the flair of this than anything else.
Okay. I have a +5 to acrobatics, and I rolled an 18.
Okay.
Oh,
But yeah, Nedris is like, she's like, this shouldn't be happening at a hen party, and she just kind of throws the cape, very anime style, and she just runs and kind of bounces up, parkour off one of the chairs, kicks some of the presents off as it goes, and just tries to jump through the air and catch the whip with her gloves of missile snaring. Now I do have to roll for the gloves to actually work, so I have to roll a d10 and add my dexterity modifier. I'm not shitting you. I know it's hard to tell on this, but I did roll a 10.
That's okay.
Plus 3, which is 13. If you reduce the damage to 0, you can catch the missile if it's small enough, or I think I can just deflect it. So I rolled a 13 to deflect.
Okay. So in this case, the whip goes back with a flourish and a snap, and it flicks out. And all of a sudden, there's just a burst, an exclamation from Nedris, who, leaping off of a chair over the kind of the banister up onto the stage and kind of doing a full like somersault into a roll up with a glove just right up into the air. The whip wraps itself around it, and she snags the glove back, and the whip just flops. And Nedris, from where you're now standing, you can clearly see that elven woman in the black and white dress talking to is that a naked Leonin next to the drummer. Going off of this, Mariella.
Yeah, I guess like Mariella's very wrapped up in what's going on, but seeing this commotion, she's wondering, was there intentional harm? Because she's a bit like, what the fuck is going on now? Is it possible to roll insight or something on that?
Side check.
Sure. That's 17.
Harm is probably a strong word, and it's kind of your insight is on the attack. You've been to loads of these shows. You've been to these shows. It's one of those things where, like, you know, knives are used and whips are used, and the occasional spiked club or paddle is used, and the occasional little bit of blood might get dropped, but it's fine.
She then steps out into the stage and she's like, well, I didn't know this town had these kind of parties. And she draws her rapier and points it at Cael. On God, darling. And she's going to take the disengage, or not the disengage, what's the one you can do as a bonus? I forget how to use my class. No, she's just going to stand there. It's a monk thing, not a me thing. Okay. She's just going to stand there and engage him, I guess.
Okay.
Do I get points for not trying to score off Daithi saying that he doesn't know how to use his class?
No, you should have sniped at that.
You should have sniped.
I rose above. I'm okay.
Cael, you find yourself now on stage with other people. A halfling, a Triton woman, all who seem to, well, you're not quite sure. You don't know if they're quite getting what's happening here, the performance, but the energy is tanking. Like, even the crowd are a little bit like, okay, I've been to some of these shows and I don't mind a bit of group stuff, but like, this is getting very, yeah, you're all beginning to lose. You're beginning to lose the crowd.
Okay. Most importantly, how does Destiny look at the moment?
Mortified.
Okay. At a glance, does he reckon he is the source of that, or does he reckon the situation, the scenario, is the source of that?
Hands down, it's the situation. Like, it's the whole,
Okay.
like, she's on stage, we're in kind of a semi-naked sword fight thing. She's got a friend on one side and a new friend on the other side, and yeah, she's looking a little bewildered.
He is going to drop the whip, raise both hands. I'm afraid that I have been bested by the lady of the evening and her stunning god. And he looks down at Nedris. As such, he turns and pulls down his shirt and walks himself onto the tip of Mariella's rapier and says, I'm yours to do with what you will. And dramatically closes his eyes and tilts his head away.
Oh, that's nice. Nice touch.
Vereri.
I am going to get my kitty cat and just go, right, I think you need to get out there now. Let's go. Come on. Yeah, let's liven it up a bit.
And he kind of cat pounces out into the middle of the stage. There's not a lot of room for what he would need to do out here with the crowd. Somebody told me that there's a bride in here tonight. And the entire time his hands are just bouncing in the air. But as they go to the left, his hips go to the right. And when they go to the right, his hips go to the left. And he's doing a weird sort of like full on, his pelvis seems to be sentient in its own right. It seems to be working some sort of twisted metaphysical mechanic, because between his tail and his glutes and his groin, it's all going. There's just a take it off, hot stuff from the bar again, as Marilla Whistlecoil is now very hot, bothered, and flustered. Thad, the Leonin erotic dancer, is kind of like half jogging. Okay, great warm up act. Thanks, everybody. If you could just maybe, I need a bit of room for for Thad's magic.
Mariella's going to withdraw her sword and just be like, I've been to some F-rated performances, but this one is particularly garbage. Hopefully he can save this. I'm not having my name beside this. We'll show her. And then she's going to like look at Cael and be like, what was that? What was this? As if like she was loving it before, but as soon as it was turning sour, it's like a switch. She's like, oh no, this is garbage. And she's going to usher her bridal friend off the stage.
He'd a seventh sense for that, and I appreciate it. Like, this isn't going on Instagram.
Nedris being 3 feet tall would probably be at crotch height for the Leonis. And as soon as that individual landed in and started to gyrate, her hands are just up and she's like, and she just backs off and nearly falls off the stage as she kind of moves backwards.
She tried to intercept that missile. Woo, woo. Okay. Sorry.
Rari's making her way. She's back around the front of the stage and she's bobbing. I mean, she'd rather a rendition of Wagon Wheel, but sure, she'll take what she gets.
Granny, what are you up to?
Because she was buying that it was all real and was kind of like she's mumbling to herself. She was going to go, it's a bit, oh God, no one gets hurt on Granny's watch. Unless you're a lich, or you're stairs, or a group of bins. But yeah, no, yeah, so, well, yeah, it's a bit sour. Oh, yeah. Oh, where do you go? And she just continues drinking.
Giselle is kind of standing off to the side of the stage, kind of holding a hand up to Destiny to kind of like take her down. And as she kind of guides Destiny back up to the reserved area and kind of like letting the rest of you meander up, I got shots for everybody, so upstairs, help yourselves. You. And she points at Cael. I didn't pay for 2 of you, so...
Yes, I know, but you looked at me very expectantly, and I was hardly going to let you down now, was I? I'm only here as a guest anyway.
This is the hen party, not a retirement party?
Oh my gosh. Okay. That explains it. I saw the lines to come. I saw the line... And I saw the lines, and he kind of gestures at her, and I thought, okay, sorry, I must be in the right place. But no, apparently not, seemingly. Apologies. Terribly sorry. I just, I don't know, And he kind of sighs. I kind of thought you would remember me. It's fine. And his voice starts to quaver.
Oh.
I've had a lot of work done. I know. And, you know, look, some things can't be undone. The accident happened, and that's it. I just thought I'd get a little bit better from you, to be honest. I would expect that Destiny will be a little more forgiving, but that's you, Giselle. That's you all over.
Yeah, so Giselle slack-jawed, and Destiny just kind of whips around on hearing this and is just like, Giselle, I know you mean well, and we're basically sisters, and I appreciate all you've done for me this evening, and the dancing, and the drinks, and the gifts, and all these new friends that you just brought into me and my life, and that's just great. I don't really appreciate the way you're speaking to my new friend here. Sorry, not new friend. We know each other a long time, apparently, but I've just had a lot to drink. Well, I haven't had that much to drink, but I'm just a little bit giddy from the whole. It's like I'm getting married tomorrow, and you are welcome. You have to come. You have to come to the party. Giselle, let him in. Obviously, there's a bit of confusion, but you know what? The more the merrier. And we're having shots. We're doing shots. Oh, we're all doing shots right effing now.
Vereri has just copped that she literally never managed to make it to the bar yet, and that's atrocious form. So, very happy to hear about shots.
Not got herself a pint of Coors yet.
Excuse me, that's a bottle of Miller with the thumb over the top. Excuse me. On the fringes of the dance floor, winking at people. Excuse me.
As a culture, I know culture women very well, and they love a pint of Coors.
They do. I was misgendering her. I had her as the person farting on the edge of the dance floor with the thumb over the bottle. I'm sorry. Are we going to Flannery's after this?
Yes,
or?
we are all going to
Okay. Very good.
Giselle picks her jaw up off the floor. You're right, Destiny, and I'm so sorry.
It's Kai now.
Oh, Kai. Oh, sorry, Kai. Why don't you come up with us? It's an exclusive little VIP area that we have. We're all doing shots. Giselle follows behind Destiny, and the table that she was originally at, that little booth, there's a tray of like these little shot glasses. So I managed to get us something a little different. It's a little out there. It's a little abyssal liqueur. Don't worry about it. I got it. It's on me. Bottoms up, bitches. Destiny picks it up and just knocks a shot straight back.
Mariella does too.
Vereri does the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
To set these on fire. No? Oh, was that just me? Yeah, it doesn't matter anyway. Well,
Knocks it back.
Is everybody doing a shot?
Yes.
Nedris is not. Nedris is literally rooting through the bag that she brought and is just readying the little concoction and looking at everyone that's drinking this shit, and is just about to start handing them out to everyone, just as a kind of a precursor for the evening. Anyone that takes a shot.
The goblin woman, the halfling man, and the half elf or the wood elf woman that were with Destiny when you all came in are introduced to you. The goblin woman is called Caria, and again, lime green skin and blue, like verdant blue hair in a short little bob, and these yellow eyes kind of looking out. She's the one that helped Giselle acquire this bottle of liqueur. Caria is an up-and-coming gastro chef in that all her work is to do with gastrointestinal. You're introduced to Philp, the halfling man with the red mohawk and the thick bushy eyebrows. He's an artist. He paints. He's a painter. But he paints what he does, which is paint.
I've met a few of them.
Yeah.
In college.
Yeah. Those people exist.
And Stephanie, the wood elf, her accent kind of goes all over the place. But it's just because like she's been traveling. She's been seeing the world and just opening herself up. And as she says it, Giselle points it out, to a lot of men. And Stephanie goes beet red. I told you those stories in confidence, you bitch.
Nedris reaches into another bag and pulls out a green liquid and says, you might want to take this along with this. And if you need more of this, Yeah, just talk to me at the end of the evening. Just hands over the green liquid as well as the Alka-Seltzer-ish type thing that she's handing out as well.
Okay, so I'm going to need you to, hopefully you've got a pen and paper to hand, or something
Yes.
that you can make a little note on. But everybody that's done a shot, give me a con save.
Would this be magic related?
Maybe.
Hang on. No, it's not for con, so forget what I was saying.
That's a 17, bro.
Would Cael have been there to partake?
You've been
You
let
followed him up?
Yeah.
Can he hazard a sniff first before he downs it? He will do it.
Yeah. Give me a medicine or nature check.
I like that you.
That's a 6 on medicine.
It smells. At first, it's that little kind of. It's almost like a little bit of aniseed, a tiny bit. But then it's got these really heavy caramel smokes, just sugar that's been slightly burnt, like slightly caught. It's still caramel, but it has that little bit of a burnt, smoky, kind of wafty smell drifting from it. And as you kind of bring the shot glass up to your nose and you give it kind of a swirl, the liquid, it's quite strange, Cael, because the liquid doesn't slosh like the way you would expect it to do. It doesn't. You don't get a little kind of swirling little whirlpool or anything in the glass.
Has it got a very strong meniscus?
It does. It does. It's actually pulling the entire glass inwards. But it looks like glitter at first. It looks like there's kind of a glitter running through it. The glitter kind of blinks, and not in the way that like lights are like it's like little. It almost looks like stardust.
Look, I've had Goldschlager and coppers before. What are you trying to tell me?
Look, this podcast is now sponsored by Jägermeister and Goldschlager.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately, none of that put him off, and he rolled a nat 1 on his con save.
Oh,
Wow.
Well, he's only a slip of a thing. I don't know what he expected.
I got a 7 on mine. I think it's a game to like let this hit you.
Rere rolled a 17, but Kim rolled a 6, so we'll just see how that goes.
And Mariella.
Mariella rolled a 10.
Okay, so Vereri and Mariella, as the shot goes back, it does have that like, but it's not hot. It's cold. It's that in that same way that a cold burn burns.
Yeah.
But it's that like, oh boy, there's a kick to that. It's kind of nice. It definitely, again, there are those weird sort of like slightly caught caramel notes to it, and a bit of a kind of a medicinal kick to it. But it's nice. It kind of you feel chilled, like it literally feel a little bit like you've been standing out in the night air kind of thing. It's quite nice.
It's blue aftershock.
It's blue aftershock. Granny and Cael, or Kai rather, it goes down, and Granny. Actually, both of you strike me.
Granny goes down. It is confirmed.
Both of you go down. You both strike me as hardened drinkers for various reasons, or at least accomplished drinkers. By heck, when this hits your belly, you feel it. You feel the effects of it straight away. So, Granny, you have 1 level of intoxicated, which is a status condition that I'm using for this adventure. There are a couple of different levels of intoxicated. Currently, you have 1 point of intoxicated status. As such, it's kind of loosened those lips and silvered your tongue a bit, Granny. You feel like you've got the gift of the gab about you. Cael, on a nat 1, the adrenaline, the embarrassment, you're not really sure what it is, but it doesn't mix well with that shot. And at first it's that like, oh god, I'm going to be sick because it went down, it hit your guts, it's going to come back up. You've 3 points of intoxicated.
Oof.
So you feel it, like whatever that was, that went through you hard. And you are now past the stage of the gift of the gab, but you got a bit of brazen bravado. So, Granny, with the gift of the gab, you have a +1 to any social rolls. With the brazen bravado, Cael, you're a bit messy. You're a bit messy, but you're showing off a little bit more. So you've a +1 to physical rolls for now. This podcast does not endorse binge drinking, just as an FYI.
But it does endorse being a lightweight.
It does endorse being a lightweight, as the DM is very much a lightweight.
It endorses being a messy queen.
Yes, I'm also one of those, as pretty much everybody here, bar die, can attest to right now. So
Yeah, you got 40 minutes till I start singing, so just I would get all your important story points
Raglan
in.
Road is going to be ran through by the end of this.
is
Way too urban for me.
Giselle again has passed all these shots out, and Nedris, you kind of refusing yours. She kind of gives you a bit of the stink eye. She doesn't say anything. She's kind of been put in her place by Cael a little bit, so she's a little less mouthy. But the drinks are passed out, and everybody does their shot. Destiny, Philp, Caria, Stephanie, and again they all have that like, ooh, that's something. Now that everybody has their shots done, and again you mill about getting your drinks, ordering stuff from the bar, whatnot, and Doris, the blonde gnome that was serving Verera when you came in, brings over a tray of drinks to everybody as ordered. Giselle kind of like sits herself between the booths and the gifts. I think perhaps, since we've got some newcomers, blow-ins, accidental invitations, whatever, perhaps we can all get to know each other a little bit with a bit of a party game. And it's one, Mariella, you'll know you were awful at it. But we used to play this all the time in the dorms. Again, Caria, you weren't actually allowed in the dorms because your family are poor. But we would all play this game.
I'm agog, by the way. Agog. I did not see that for her.
The gastro guts chef.
Mariella is just skipping behind like her fan. It's just like,
why don't we play Two Truths and a Lie? And we're going to leave the episode right there. You've been listening to The Hen Knight, a Romancing the Dungeon adventure starring Daithi from Arcavios Eternal, Wayne, Darren and Kim from the Irish Pubcast and the Sorcery and Shenanigans adventure. And not forgetting our very own James as Cael Adorous. We're back this time next week for the next installment in The Hen Knight, and we'll see you then.